You might remember back the beginning of October, I got this nice new little miniature smoother here. And I didn't really put too much time into tuning it up to this point because I haven't really had an immediate need for it. I sharpened it up and tried it out, and it was only taking a fairly thick cut or no cut at all. So I thought maybe the sole needed to be flattened a little bit. So I went ahead and I did that, and that improved things a little bit. But still, it was only taking a relatively thick cut or no cut at all. And for a smoother, that's not really what we're after. So I had sort of a suspicion that there might be a bedding problem with this plane. So today what I want to do is show you how to check for and address a problem with the bedding of the iron in a wooden plane. So this particular model is a single iron plane. We'll take the wedge out. What that means is there's only one iron. There's no cap iron or chip breaker to this. And then this is what's referred to as the bed of the plane. Now what frequently happens with these old planes is that the stock moves over time, and sometimes with the older planes, you could get some deformation of the bed, and it's either not flat anymore, or there's a little hump in the center, or something that keeps the very edge of this iron from making contact with the bed. And what we want in a plane like this is we want this area down right at the mouth down here. I don't know if you can see that, but this area down here is where we want the iron we want to make sure it's contacting. It's okay if it contacts the rest of the bed as well, but if it contacts the bed up here in this area and not way down by the mouth, you typically have problems with chatter, where you may get some flexing of the blade or some vibration. And even in a thick blade like this, this is at least 1/8 to 3/16 of an inch thick, but under planing pressure, it will flex some if there's space between the iron and the bed of the plane. So what we want to do is check to see where the iron is making contact. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just use a plain old candle, and I want to coat the back of the iron that contacts the bed of the plane with soot from the candle. You can do this with a magic marker as well, or any other kind of dirty flame that's going to leave soot. I like the candle. I think the soot works better than magic marker in these cases. I think it comes off easier and marks the high spots on the bed better. And you really don't have to worry too much about getting the iron too hot here. It's a relatively cool flame as far as fire is concerned. And we're not holding it in one spot long enough to really get the blade hot. We're just moving it quickly along just to deposit a thin layer of soot on the back of that iron. Okay. So now you can see the iron has got a nice layer of black soot. So we can now take that. We're going to carefully put the iron into the plane, but we're going to suspend it above the bed. We don't want that soot rubbing off yet. So we're going to put it in place carefully. I'm going to put the wedge in, wedge it up with just hand pressure. Now I'm going to take my plane adjusting mallet and give the iron a couple taps to slide it forward. Now we're going to pull it back out. And what you're going to see is, just as I suspected, you can see right here we've got a sort of a high spot in the middle. The iron is not making really great contact with the bed of this plane. So what I want to do is to bed this iron a little better, and you can see here how the iron, where the soot was rubbed off, that's where it's making contact. So we want better contact, especially way down by the blade. So I'm just going to take a chisel. You can use a file or a rasp or whatever you have, a scraper, and I'm just going to pare away or scrape away the high spot. And I'm taking dust, basically. I'm doing this very easily. And I just want to take away that high spot. And you can see here how much material I took away. Okay, it's really just dust. We're not really removing a lot of material. It doesn't take a lot to make a difference. That's why I said, you can use a file or a scraper as well. They'll work just as well as a chisel. Even a blunt chisel will work if it's squared off. All right, so now we're going to go back. We're going to soot the iron again and test it again. Okay, making some progress. So we're just going to keep going, pare away the high spots, recheck, and we're going to continue this process until we get much better contact between the iron and the bed of the plane. All right, now that's a little bit more what we're looking for. So you can see now that there's a lot more contact down, deep down around the bottom of the mouth. And that's what we're looking for. That's where we really want the iron to be fully supported so that we don't get any chatter, any vibration when we're using this plane. I'm going to go a little bit further, I think. I want to take it down a little bit up here where I see some high spots. But I should be just about there with this one. Right, I'm pretty happy with that. I think it's time to clean up the bed, clean the soot off the bed, clean the soot off the iron, give it a final honing, and try it out again and see how much of a difference tuning up the bed of the plane made. There we go. That's what I've been looking for.